All right. We're on the technical difficulties. Let's get where we need to be. Alright, little week 6 review. We'll hop into the trades right away. Oh yeah, trade that popped it all off. We got Tommy Colburn trading with Tommy Colburn, obviously. I feel like we don't really have to all the way back up to that. Everyone knows it was bullshit. Oh, but we're here. Alright, so we got the most valuable thing in the trade by far in Hollywood Brown for, I guess, all-pro Rashad White and free agent for a team's third that is tanking currently. I don't get it. I don't think anyone else got it. Echoing. Thank you, Sid. Boom. It's still echoing. Is that better, Sydney? Way better. Alright, perfect. Okay. So, yeah, I don't think anyone got it. If you do understand why one would make this move other than Tommy runs your team, please let me know, because I don't think anyone really understood that trade. And then we got, let's see, the next trade I think was Osborne to Tommy. Oh, the first veto in the league. That's big news. That one was completed, and then I think the next one was vetoed, whatever it was. Yeah, right here, the first veto in the league. Big business around there. And then a couple roster moves. Did I miss the other trade? Yeah, I definitely missed the other trade. But yeah, there was Osborne was tossed around like a blunt. Tommy paid Dix and chips for him and then traded him to me. I overpaid a little bit. Yeah, because I kind of thought I needed a win last week, but it didn't happen, is what it is. And then a fourth for Stafford. I mean, whatever. I guess if you need a quarterback, Stafford's not bad, and then you give him a fourth. Is what it is. Not really anything doing over there. And then that was that for the week 6 trades. Other than the Osborne trades, that was actually up higher. But now let's get into a little bit of the game reviews. We'll put them with the spreads. So the first game we had Gorilla Gang plus 4.5, which I think was a really good line, and I think the line was almost perfect, other than the fact that Tommy got Raheem Mostert, the RB1 for a fucking second round pick. I know he's the RB2 actually, but Christian McCaffrey doesn't count. He's just not fucking human. So yeah, he got the as far as humans are concerned, the RB1 for a second and a guy that's probably not rostered anymore. So that was nice. That was great. He put up 34. And then on top of that, Deebo Samuel, I don't think he likes playing football. I think he just likes talking on the internet and getting into fights. But that was cool. One upside for me coming out of this week is if Deebo would have been hurt before the week, I would have then started Hubbard, and then I would have won. And it's easy to play those kind of like what-if games. But, I was one switch away from still winning even after this crazy, Raheem Mostert performance. So, it is what it is. I think the line was pretty good. And the only underdog that won was Rebuilding Year. It was by a lot, but that was the only underdog. The only game that I got wrong so far. And then into the next game, we had Bombers plus 9.5, which it should have been more. Looking back on it, hindsight is 2020, but he's starting two people who just shouldn't even be in the NFL, nonetheless in a starting fantasy lineup. And then three people actually. Parker should not be in a lineup either. So 9.5 was a little low. Obviously, easy to say in hindsight after a 50-point blowout, but more than that, fucking 65, 66-point blowout. But I still thought it should have been closer, but is what it is. Then the next game was, you can call it an upset, kind of just, is what it is, kind of. Justin Fields coming off 2 great weeks, comes in, doesn't play great, and then on top of that gets hurt. Not just for this week, but for the whole future of Ala Akjamar. This is going to be tough because he has 4 quarterbacks, and all of them suck at football. Every single one of them. So that's a big blow. And as we know, he's a Bears fan, so another big blow. But I don't think it would have made a big difference on the week. AJ just had a fucking insane week. Howell goes off for nearly 20. Barkley on his first real game back gets 14, which is what he's projected, but I didn't think he was going to get that. Kamara doing Kamara things. Tyreek doing Tyreek things. And Cooper Kupp going for fucking 150 and a touchdown. Adam Thielen has like a fucking second life going on right now. And then obviously Kelsey does Kelsey things, and Godwin, as always, very solid, would continue to be. And this was his only real weakness right here, and it gets 5.5. But when everyone else is getting 20 plus, it doesn't really fucking matter. So that was a big surprise. Not that it's crazy that AJ won, but I thought that was going to be a very close game. Ended up not being. Then next we had the Frauds plus 23.5. They made this a lot closer game than I thought it was going to be. Definitely than it should have been. This was more on, Tizzy's Tards players not exactly playing to the way they should have. And then on top of that, a couple of people for the Frauds goes off, and, they get very good points. But Dameon Pierce going for 3 is terrible. You hate to see that happen. Jake Ferguson, after a couple of very solid weeks, only gets 2 points. And then Jamal Williams is playing like shit all year. Shouldn't really be in the starting lineup, I don't think, but him going for 7 is definitely not going to help. But still get the win, move to 5-1. That's very big for the Tards. And then the next game, we had Dog Shelter, Tommy's Team 2.0, Deshaun's Massage Club Jr. At plus 23.5, and obviously that wasn't enough because just look at the team. I don't even know what to tell you. And on top of that, Rogers rate, they had the performance they probably should have, even with Tank Dell not going and being in the lineup. Yeah. So, yep. And then on to the next, we had Wake and Blake. This was the closest prediction of the week. Wake and Blake plus 13.5. That puts them almost tied. So, great little prediction by your boy. Yeah, I could have told you he was going to get shit points. I didn't understand the trade when it happened. I still don't understand the trade. But then on top of that, just a lot of disappointing weeks from other people on the squad. Jalen Hurts goes for 20, which I wouldn't say is disappointing, but you kind of think he's going to get more. Breece Hall also goes for 20. Solid week. 2, could have told you that. T. Higgins, again, he's one of those boomer bust guys where he's either going to have 20 or he's going to have like 2. This is just one of his shit weeks. It is what it is. Devonta Smith has just continually just not really put up the numbers you want. This 17.7 is what you'd expect probably. So he has 1 boom week, 3 letdowns, then another kind of what you'd expect. Still kind of a letdown week. Just not a great season so far for Smith. And then Jahan Dotson has been playing pretty solid. he's been playing all right, but then coming out and giving you 0 is not what you want to see. Laporta with a down week. Brandon Cooks has his best week of the year though, and then Nico Collins. This is probably a number you should expect to see. So nothing too much there. But yeah, so far the lines are pretty good. I think Wake and Blake was the best line, and then I think my game was probably the second best line. You know, it is what it is. Not gonna get him right. Even Vegas doesn't get him right. So it is what it is. Now into week 7. Week 7. We're going to start, of course, with my game because that shows you your game first. So I would say I'm favored. Obviously, that's one of those things that you say and then you get smoked. But I think it's fair to say that I'm favored. Not by a whole lot. I think this is going to be less. I think it's going to be a single-digit victory. So here I have Mixon. It's going to be Aaron Jones, and here I have Beckham, but that is probably going to be Deebo Samuel. So I think all around it's kind of even, except for here in the slot spots. I think is where I'm going to have the real advantage. So I'm going to go 7.5, maybe higher. That might be a little low, but I think that's around where it'll be. Anywhere from like 7.5 to 10. I don't think it'll be big double-digit win, but you know, I think pretty solid victory. The next we got, obviously, Hiroshima Bombers are going to be the underdogs because, I mean, even with Jesus Christ on the team, you know, they fucking suck. So then it's a matter of how much. This is going to be double digits for sure. Dude, Parker's in your starting lineup. AJ Dillon's in your starting lineup. Najee Harris, you would think at some point it would click again like it did his rookie year, I think is when, yeah, like, jeez, dude. I don't know how he fell off so hard, but you'd think it'd start to click. So, I don't know if it's going to be against the Rams, but I think eventually it's going to start to click. But nonetheless, I think he gets smoked out. I really don't think it's super close. It's not going to be one of those 20-point losses that we were projecting last week, but I think we can look at a solid, like, 13, to be completely honest. I think we're looking at, like, 13.5 here. You know, 12.5, 13.5, somewhere in the range. And then here, I think is probably, this might be our closest game of the week, is going to be here with Papa's Players versus Rebuilding Year. And I think Rebuilding Year has the edge, but with Thielen on a bye, I think that's going to be a big blow to the team, just because how much he gets targeted by Bryce Young, and the numbers that he's continuing to put up. So he's going to have to replace him with someone like, I don't even know, because his bench is just atrocious outside of tight end, which you only get one tight end. So he plays him with a Renfro, maybe, or McKinnon. But then there's a lot of people over on Papa's Players, I think. Like, third week back, I think, is when it's really going to start to click. I think they're getting him back really in the offense here, and Jonathan Taylor. Bijan Robinson, absolute dog. The one real downside here is going to be here with Gibbs, just because it's so questionable, and then obviously up here at quarterback. But Daniel Jones versus Howell, I think, is pretty even. But we're going to go Papa plus, we're going to give him 5.5. Again, I think that's probably going to be the closest game of the week. You could argue maybe it's going to be Gorilla Gang, Wake and Blake, But I think right here is going to be our game of the week. A 1-5 versus 6-0 is interesting to say that about, but you know, I think I think if I think Boss Players actually has a chance to win, but I don't think they will. And then here, obviously the frauds. It's just a matter of how much. This is going to be another one of those like last week. We're talking 20 something. Could probably go 30 realistically, but right here with Wilson versus Loves, very even. And then outside of that, it's not close at any other position, other than here at tight end. But that's, again, even probably, and then everything else is just absolute wash. We're going to have to go, like, high 20s, mid to high 20s, so we're going to go 25.5. Again, don't think it's close. That's probably going to be the biggest blowout of the week. And then after that, this is my second guess for biggest blowout of the week because Tommy's team 2.0. And then it's just a matter of how much we give them. I feel like every week it should be at least 20. But then this is a real down week for the Tarts. Even though they're 5-1, their squad when they have all their starters is pretty solid. With the buys, they're starting. Jamal Williams is still in the lineup. I don't like Nelson Aguilar. I don't like Sutton. Say what you want. I don't even know who Trotman is, to be completely honest. And Alec Pierce, I don't think he's that guy, especially coming off an injury. I think he is. Yeah, got injured last week, it looks like. And with AR no longer going to be there, I don't know what that does to their pass game. So I think we go 20.5 because it's just every time Tom 2.0 is playing, it's got to be at least 20. But I think it's going to be, real dogfight for those 20.5 points. And then we got Rogers Rate versus Team Jacob Borchert. Now, I don't know exactly what the injury with McCaffrey is. So that could affect it a lot, depending on how serious it is. Especially with them playing Minnesota. I don't think they want to really risk it against Minnesota, per se. So that, that could be a big factor in who and how much it is. I think even without him, like even if he starts him and he's out, I don't think it changes the outcome of the game. But I think, I think it becomes a whole lot closer if he's not healthy to go. DJ Moore shouldn't really be in the starting lineup, I don't think, with Justin Fields out. Granted, they are playing the Raiders, who are pretty ass, but he's not getting 13, I can tell you that. Judy, I don't think he's dropped 11 all year. And then he's going to have Jair Alexander guarding him. Alright, so I think they're going to have his second best game in 7 weeks against Jair Alexander. Might want to take that one to heart, Packers fans. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp's back. I don't think he's getting 14, and especially against Pittsburgh. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than projected by Sleeper, but I think it's not going to be like, I don't think it's going to be like a game to watch, but Sleeper's projecting to win by like 30. Yeah, by like 26. So, I don't think it's going to be 26 at all. I think this is closer to like a low teens, honestly. Like a 13, 14 probably. We'll go 14.5 though. We'll go 14.5. Call it a dizzy. Feel pretty solid about that. So then, yeah, we got Wake and Blake plus 7.5. Then we got the Bombers against Deshaun's Massage Club plus 13.5. Then we're gonna get Papa's Players plus 5.5. in what I think is going to be the game of the week. But, you know, anything can happen, especially with Tyreek Hill playing against him. Anything can happen. So maybe it's another one of those 70-point, you know, absolute steamrolls. Then we got the frauds, obviously plus 25.5. Obviously, Tom 2.0 is going for plus 20.5, and then we got Raj Rapes at plus 14.5. This I think is going to be the biggest, like not in line with Sleeper, because everything else is probably pretty close, I'd say, to what Sleeper has. But this one, Sleeper has a plus 36, I guess you could say, and I just don't think it's going to be that big of a blowout. So that's what we got. And now let's get into, I guess I could have went over this. I think I did last week. But tis what it is. Next week we'll go over it, you know, I'll remember, maybe. And then a couple of the pickups. Craig Reynolds, I was surprised that Sid dropped him. You know, it is what it is. And then Julio Jones, I mean, I guess Julio is always someone you want on your team if he's playing football, but I don't know. This Leonard Fournette, 3 people going for him was interesting. I didn't hear anything that made me go, oh, Leonard Fournette's going back in the league, but 3 people went for him, so that was probably the most interesting out of everything. And then Tizzy obviously picking up a tight end because he has none to play right now, but you know, might as well play none if you have a guy. I have no idea what his name is. Then a couple people on the block, and then the first trade of this week was Team Jacob Borchert coming out of the dungeon to give a second for Curtis Samuel. I mean, his depth is, here, let's see where he's at. His depth is a little shot, so that definitely helps a lot there. Like, he has, he's injured, but, so he has 2 people on his bench that you could probably substitute in, maybe Sky Moore, you could say. But, so yeah, I mean, it's a guy, if he wants to go on this run, it's a guy he kind of needs, you know, if injuries or bye weeks or anything like that. It's a guy you definitely can put in and not be too scared about. I don't think he's worth a second, but again, with that being said, if Borch goes top 3, then, you know, that second becomes, you know, the higher picks in the second are way different than the background, or the back picks in the second. So, if he's top 3, it's really, he's not giving up much, especially if he ends up winning or anything like that. So, and then yeah, he puts Judy on the block, which, if anyone's interested, he's not really on the block. I've asked multiple times. Even today, I asked, and you know, this on the block hooliganism has to be checked. First off, clear the fucking trade block, you fucking scumbags. Like, if you've had a guy on the trade block for fucking 7 weeks and no one has offered, nobody wants him. Just take him off the trade block, or go and ask people personally who you think might need them, because obviously it's doing nothing with them being on a trade block. And then, kind of the flip side of that, if you have someone on a trade block and you're no longer actually trying to trade them, take them off the fucking trade block. It makes no sense to have them on there. So, you know, couldn't make it through a video without a little bit of a rant, so there's your little rant for the day. And yeah, alright.